Okay, question number 2 is one of these modulus inequalities questions. To solve this type of question, I always draw a graph. There is a second method that you can use which involves squaring these things and then taking the positive square root, but I prefer the visual method because you can kind of gauge if you've got the right answer. So, first thing I need to do is draw the graphs of these two functions here. Mod of 4x minus 3 is the first one. So the mod of 4x minus 3, if you think of that as a straight line graph, it would normally go through minus 3 on the y-axis, so down here somewhere, and it would have a gradient of 4, so it would go cross 1 and up 4, cross 1 and up 4, and so on. It would hit the x-axis at positive 3/4, and it would also go through, it would also go through 1, 1. So I can use that to get my gradient. So I'm gonna go across 1 from here and up 4. So that's gonna go through 2, 5. So that's about the right steepness. And again, I'll do that on the other side. I know it's going to go through positive 3 because that's the modulus of negative 3. So that is an accurate graph for this one. Same thing with the 2x minus 3. Just going to take a different colour. So for 2x plus 1, that's going to go through the y-axis at positive 1 and have a gradient of 2. So that's going to be slightly easier to draw. But when we get to a half, we know that the gradient is, well, the line is going to change direction and come back up like this. So, if we now label these lines, each of the 4 lines, not just as the modulus, but with whether they're positive or negatives of these two things. So if we do the red ones first, this line here was 4x take 3. This line here was the reflection when it went negative. So this is minus 4x plus 3. And similarly for the green one, here we've got 2x plus 1. But here we've got minus 2x minus 1. And in order to solve this inequalities question, we have to find out these 2 points here, so that we can say that the 4x minus 3 line, so that's the red line, is smaller than the green line when it's underneath it, when it's below it. So it will be between these 2 points. So we need to find out what these 2 points are. We can kind of see what one of them is. We're expecting that to come out at x equals 2, but I'm still going to work it out algebraically to make extra sure. So to find these 2 points, we're going to equate the correct graph. And we need to check which line is intersecting with which. Well, this point here is when the minus 4x plus 3 graph intersects the 2x plus 1 graph. So that's one of the equations I need to solve, when 2x plus 1 intersects minus 4x plus 3. So if we solve that, we're going to add 4 to this side, so that's 2x, take 1 away, so that's going to equal 2. So that gives me an x coordinate of a third, which looks about right. So that's this point here. Now we also need this point here, which we've already guessed at 2, but I'm going to do it properly. So that's when the 4x minus 3 graph intersects the 2x plus 1 graph. So the 4x plus 3 graph, 4x minus 3 graph intersects the 2x plus 1 graph. Take 2 away, or 2x away, add that 3 on, gives me 2x equals 4. So x equals 2, which we suspected. So this is the point 2, and as I said, to solve the inequality, So that's when is the mod of 4x minus 3 less than 2x plus 1. We're looking between these 2 points. So my final answer is when x is less than 2 but more than a third, because that's the section of the graph where the red line is below the green line.